Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. Today we're going to be talking about Cermia. So this is kind of like a Cermia unit review slash unit showcase. So about 2 weeks ago, I did the news on Cermia, and I talked about her from the banner. On the banner news, I talked about like how potentially she can be as strong as Luna, and I think I did title my video that way, like stronger than Luna. I think that's exactly what I put. Now, just a couple things. Luna, I think at this point is still the stronger damage dealer in terms of output damage, but in terms of like self-sustaining hero, as in Cermia can do an attack buff for herself, a 75% attack buff, which is what is it, 70%? The greater attack buff, while Luna can do a defense break, which is a 70% defense ignore. But after the break is applied. But Cermia's S3 can ignore 50%. So today I'm going to do a showcase on my Cermia versus my Luna on the damage. Now their stats are different, so it's not going to be 1 for 1. But at least if you're a newer player or even a mid-tier player, you don't have Cermia fully built, you don't have Luna fully built, you might be able to get a comparison and get the sense that how strong they are compared to each other and where they will be used, one or the other. So recently in a lot of GVG, I've been using Cermia, as a single target nuker when I don't think that Luna fits, and because of the different elemental and the different aspects to their kits, I find that it is very important to have obviously all your roles covered, but then all varieties of roles as well after you have your roles covered. Rare Ruby says 75%. Yeah, so her S2 is a self-attack buff. It's a greater, as you can see. When you see the icon, it has like a double arrow instead of one arrow up. Double arrow up, and it's a 75% buff, which is incredibly strong. That 25% makes a huge difference in terms of overall output damage. So this is my Cermia. I'll show you guys the stats here. Compared to Luna, she has a 3,805 attack currently. Of course, every hero can get better as you get better gear over time, but this is where I am, and I'm pretty much done with her. Like, I'm not chasing her gear anymore. I'm building other heroes. She turned out to be pretty beefy because of a couple good substat rules. Arguably, like, not so good, but whatever, it can save me. 22% defense on that neck there. I think there was another one. It's like 18% defense on this armor. I think there was another one that has like some good defense. No, I think that was it. But yeah, that was pretty much it. But as you can see, 924, not terrible. Especially she has pretty low base HP and defense. She ended up going to 9,222, which I'm very comfortable with. She has very low HP, especially if you compare it to Luna. Again, this is a comparison. 86% crit chance is good enough as well, especially if I'm taking on something that has a weaker element. So like Earth, for example, I would get 100% right there. Critical hit damage, arguably I would say that she can use a bit higher to really benefit from her S3, because her S3 penetrates 50% of their defense. So because the crit damage calculation is at the end of the formula, of your damage formula, so the higher the crit damage, it goes without saying it, of course it gets stronger, but the higher crit damage, the more the 50% you'll see more of, right? Because it extends by percentage. So it's gonna be really cool. Monkey 993, he says watches my stuff, and hey man, welcome to stream, dude. Yeah, so this is what she's at right now. Arguably her effectiveness for her build is a bit too low. I would really like if she can get like a measly 30%. It's just because her S1 has a unhealable for one turn. I think most heroes, if their main focus is not to block the healable, is one turn, but a 55% chance to boot is really strong. If you get it to +4, you get already a 65%, which is incredibly good. All the way up to a 75% if you really want to deck her out. 75% can be really good if you have effectiveness, but I am using her currently as a single target nuker, which is also another reason why I actually haven't enhanced her S2, because of the one turn cooldown. It can really help because the one turn cooldown will reset S3. So arguably, if you're in a long battle, having that 1 turn cooldown is really good, because after you use this, you use S3, on the next turn you can use this for a greater attack buff, and then resets your S3, and it gives you a granted an extra turn, and then you can use it again. That's double nuke, 2 nukes in 2 turns. But if you have the cooldown lower, obviously from therefore after, unless you want to save another cooldown for this to reload to get another double nuke, you would most likely just keep using this hot streak, and then keep using this every time hot streak is available. Because if you look at here, this is 5 turns, minus cooldown for 1, that means you can use all in every 4 turns, which is of course incredibly crazy. In terms of high HP bosses, maybe like Abyss, which I haven't tested on, she'll most likely be able to do more damage over time than Luna. But of course Luna does have higher mod than her S1. So a thing to mention, I think her Soulburn S3 is about a 1.65 damage mod, but keep in mind it has a 50% ignore defense. So the higher the defense of the enemy, the bigger damage difference you'll see. Her S1 is actually incredibly strong. If you guys actually watch my GVG videos where I do feature Cermia, it has a 1.2 times single target modifier, which is incredibly strong as well. She could do easily, like, you know, with her greater attack buff, of course, she could do easily like 10k to 12k damage. That's without enhancements, just with my current stats, just like that. Another thing to note is that her own artifact border coin might be better for her in, again, long-term fights, because it apparently can stack up to a 45% attack on her base attack, or sorry, total attack. I'm not quite sure actually how it works. But I think it's a 75 total attack, but it takes 3 full turns for her to go after she does something that's not an attack, so only S2. So technically, if you calculate it, it's what, 12 turns before she gets a fully stacked border coin. But by then she would be incredibly strong, and I'm pretty sure most bosses would be dead by then. I do think that she might be a really good one to test on Abyss 85 with Dark Corvus, because apparently he doesn't accept HP damage or damage over time. So Cermia might be really good for that. I haven't tested her on it, but I might actually when I get there. Another thing why I use Sigurd Scythe is that it's self-sustainable. Especially if I'm fighting with some, you know, tank teams and healers, and even healers like Angelica or DN, who are water heroes. They won't do too much damage to her, but if they knock her down to 25% and she has another target and she has so much damage, she can siphon back all her HP. I've done that multiple times where I've just gotten full healed just from Sigurd Scythe. So very, very good artifact to have on her, because I don't have border coin, but because I do use them more in PvP and GVG, Sigurd Scythe is going to probably most likely be on her forever. Now if you compare to Luna, the stats are much more drastic. You can see one thing to note is that Cermia has I think as high as a base attack as Tenebria, which is 1359. So that means it doesn't take too much attack percentage substats to get her really, really high. As you can see there, 38. And I think I'm missing a couple places where it could have attack substats. Like the necklace, for example. Everything else actually ended up rolling pretty well. And the ring. Yeah. No, the ring wouldn't be able to get it. The main stat is the attack. Yeah, so you could compare the stats there, 3,800 and versus Luna 3,300, but the critical hit damage is 261. Now she does have Cow Cutter on, so when we do the showcase, and when I'm going to do the showcase, you will see, of course, the benefits of Hell Cutter just slightly. Now, if you notice, the speed on Luna here is at 136. I haven't changed her since my last showcase, and Cermia's is 144. I do think that she has some pretty good base speed, but of course the speed set really completes her. Now, I do want them to be a bit fast, and again, this is just a tip for newer players. Let's say if you run a destruction set instead of a speed set and you want to get similar speed, all you need to do is get a main stat, boot with speed. Or let's say if you're going with an attack set, you get a 35% attack there. But I still think that a speed set for a 25% speed has better benefits to her and with a 60% speed boot. That's just a tip of how I build it. I'm pretty sure there's many other builds out there that can work. As long as you get the stats you want, it doesn't really matter what set you complete with. So anyways, that's my Luna, and compared to the Cermia, the stats look quite drastic. But let's compare their damage, and let's do that right now. So I'm going to run one in Dark Altar to compare it. I'm actually going to run it maybe a couple times just so we can get like an average, because there's probably going to be some RNG aspects involved too, like if I could get a defense breakup, etc. So I'm going to do it. I think it was team 3 that I set up. Team 3. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Ken, DN to sustain the buffs, because my DN is faster, she'll lap them. Sustain the attack buff, so you guys will see the attack buffs. Yeah, so let's try this out.
I will guide you through the light.
I would pop up the attack here.
My goddess, grant me the power to extinguish the evil.
So let's see if we could proc a defense break. I'm gonna keep the guy, the #1 guy, alive, because he can spawn another guy in the next turn. Okay, no defense break. So I think this would be a good chance to show you guys the S3 without the greater buff, right? First, let's do it on the #2.
Enough. I'll blow you away.
Okay, so 13,000 damage. I'm going to use the S3 on Luna. No soul burn, keep that in mind. No soul burning, and she has a higher mod than Cermia right now. These guys have lower defense, so Cermia's S3 may not look as good. So 14,000 damage right there. So you can see that was actually pretty close. Now this is without Cermia's greater attack buff, and of course no soul burn on Luna. Now soul burn Luna does have a defense break on that attack. So if you're talking about like self-sustaining hero, Luna can benefit from her own defense break, of course, if you have her fast enough. And then Cermia has the greater attack buff with a 50% ignore. If you put everything on paper, I do believe that Cermia is actually the stronger of the two. But because Luna has higher damage mods and has an RNG aspect to her S1, over time, I think Luna will catch up. Now I know there are people who have done formulas and math on this, and you know, it's really good. Okay, so we got 2 defense breaks here. So I'm gonna do her S3, so you guys can see the difference. I'm going to soul burn this one. Actually, no, let's not soul burn this one. I'll soul burn it later. Again, on the same guy, so we get to see the difference. But there's a defense break. Okay, defense break with a greater attack buff.
There is no mercy in a real fight.
27,000, but that is with a defense break, but already with a 50% ignore. I do believe that is a multiplicative, so it's gonna be 70% ignore. Oh, sorry, 50% ignore on the 70% defense broken hero. So whatever was left over, then I think you reduce the defense that way. So with a defense break on, yes, you're gonna see some difference, but it won't be super high. I think Cermia gets more damage mods from enhancements than Luna does, says Rare Ruby. Okay, I'm gonna double check that. So one thing with Luna, of course, that's 29,000 right there. Okay, so that's a S1, and that's the medium hit, right? So she can get something as high as a 2.1 damage mod, which is incredibly strong. It's almost like doing her S3 every time, if you get lucky, but that's an RNG aspect. It's interesting that Cermia doesn't really have an RNG aspect, even though she's the gambler, if you guys read the rules. Oh, okay, another thing to note that Rare Ruby, you'll get the credit for this. Once a greater attack buff is applied, if you apply a regular attack buff, it actually boosts the greater attack buff's turn count. So you can see there, you could compare on DN's head, an attack buff, regular has 3. Originally Cermia should have only 1 turn left, but because of DN's greater attack regular attack buff, her greater attack buff gets pushed for 3 turns. So it's something to know for also newer players if you're setting up the teams, just in case you haven't figured that out. That is really good if you get a perfect rotation. That means Cermia, from this point on, as long as your healer doesn't get stunned, silenced, CD pushback, you're gonna keep up Cermia's attack buff, which is really good. The 7.9k, so let's move on. here I think we can get a better sense of their damage, because I think this this boss is gonna outlive a couple turns. Let's put up a barrier for now.
My goddess.
So I'm gonna take a look at what Ruby was talking about, the damage enhancements. So I think he's talking about the raw damage enhancements, like total. He's saying that it could possibly be higher than Luna. So raw damage, if it's higher than Luna, then yes, she has a higher potential.
I shall honor you.
Okay, I'm gonna use the S1 here. The 7.4.
Don't be scared.
And then compared to Luna, of course, has 1.1, and that's only the medium hit. So on the turns that Cermia is waiting for, she's obviously going to suffer a bit. But again, still a 1.22 mod on a single target on an S1 is still really strong. So it's not low at all. It's just that Luna was designed to be somewhat broken. I think Luna's medium hit is like a 1.6, and her lowest hit is like a 1.1 or something. There's the unhealable there, but I don't think she has really high effect resist. Only 50% effect resist. I have a 30%. Sorry, I have a 3% effect resist on her. Okay, actually, Ken might kill her, so that might not be a good thing. So on the next run, I'm actually gonna save their S3s on herself, so you guys can see the damage difference on a higher HP boss. And again, with the turn rotation,
this is what the
most likely I'll be able to kill her too quick, and she doesn't have high enough HP. Maybe I should, actually, you know what? Maybe I should take her to Wyvern. I will. I'll take her to Wyvern. Let's take her to Wyvern. Let's try it out.
Let's advance together.
Even though Luna has an elemental advantage, that's kind of why I wanted to run the Dark Altar. To run the Dark Altar, it's neutral, so you guys will see the damage for this. So the soul burn on her S3 is also very cheap, because it's only 10 souls, same as Luna. But again, it's only a 4-turn cooldown, whereas Luna on average, if you get lucky, is 4 turns, but most likely 5. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the lobby. Let's quickly take a look at this. Oh. Ruby says the Malagora enhancements. I think she has higher percent when you fully invest versus Luna. Okay, let's double check it right now. Yes, because the Cermia does have more like skill enhanced room, but I'm not quite sure. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. So the S3 was never meant to be her like soul damage thing, so it doesn't have too much effect. So damage dealt. So that's what, 25%, 25% right there. Damage extra. If I actually plus 5'd it, I didn't. But and then this one has 555, so 15. So 25, 35%. Okay, 35% on Luna, but her passive is really what's giving her like any advantage, because remember her passive is calculated, the percentage calculated on the total base attack, total attack after buffs. So no matter what buffs go on her, after buffs she gets total of that 27% currently. So it's 27% of 3,300. So no matter what, her attack is actually higher than Cermia. So that's over 4,000 attack if you calculate that. But of course that is pre-buff. Okay, so let's take a look at Cermia here. So 5, 10, 20, 30, yeah, 40%. 40% for all in there. Let's see here, the effect chance, so 10, 20, 30. So 30% on S1, so that's the same as Luna, but a 40% on the S3. No, that's not the same as Luna. She has 35. Okay. So yeah, so it's really clear that Luna's main damage source is her S1, while Cermia's damage source is her S3, right? Do A11? Do A11, but they're single target damage dealers. PMA says do A11. I'll let him explain why. Because it's a neutral, but then. All right, fine. Let's try it out. Let's see if I can do. Let's see if I can do an A11 with them. I don't think I can beat it, but let's see. Let's set up a team here. Tamarine, maybe Charles, and I'll put in the two damage dealers here. You guys see my silk? You guys see my silk? Oh yeah, PMA. I built silk for Golem. She actually does pretty good for Golem 11. Let's see here, and then Luna. All right, let's try it out. Let's see. Showcasing some damage. I don't have enough AoE, but hopefully it's good enough. Hey, King Fishu. Hey, man, welcome. Oh my goodness, they hit so hard.
I'm scared.
They hit so hard. Okay, so even on these guys, we can sort of get like a sense of it, but the only thing is I won't get buffs if I go with Tamarine. Not right now, but I think we have a long fight, so let's try it. So S3, that's without buffs, 8,000, 8,800. I'm gonna kill off this one.
Spear of Laguna. Bleed.
So that's 10,000, 11,000 right there. Arguably I should put up his own buff. Get a defense buff up. But I'm probably gonna have to yield it, to be honest. I'll probably have to yield this. But let's just compare the damage.
You can't close your eyes. Yep. I shall honor you.
Okay, let's do it.
You owe me one.
I'm not gonna soul burn it. So we know what damage we did on these guys, the same guys as the one I just killed. 15,000. So that already beats Luna's S3. Now, of course, that is with a greater attack buff.
Back up.
But you can see Cermia being a really, really strong single target nuker.
I'll show you how it's done.
And only outside the elemental advantage and disadvantage thing. Otherwise, I would use Cermia a lot more. But it's just that currently, at least in PvP and GVG, it's the ice meta. So using Cermia is not a really good option.
I think I'm going to faint. Go away.
I might actually die even before I can showcase anything. Let's see if I can take these guys out. Wow.
Don't be scared. Over here.
I'll go. Watch carefully.
Yeah, no, I already checked it. So Maru Ben says Cermia's S3 has a 1.15 attack skill mod for the S3 versus Luna is a 1.5 attack. But when you soul burn Luna, it's a 2.2, I believe, and if you soul burn Cermia, is 1.65. But the 50% ignore plays a big role in why Cermia is so strong. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is a really good showcase here. I'm gonna yield it. Save time. Let's go to Wyvern, and I'm gonna use DN, of course, but with Cermia in. I think we'll get more what's it called? More consistent damage throughout. But do keep in mind that there's a 10% elemental advantage with Luna, so the damage is gonna be slightly higher. But Cermia is not too bad either, so. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm gonna save their S3s for Wyvern. And because Cermia does go first, most likely she will not be able to benefit from Luna's defense break if I can proc it.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
But that's what I want, because I want to compare it without the defense break. But don't think we should be, we might not be fast enough though, to get benefit from the own defense break. The unhealable there is really nice. Nice to have when it does go off. So again, like I said, effectiveness to me was like a nice to have, but it is really good, especially in PvP. If all of a sudden you block someone's heal, that can really make or break. So I'm not gonna chase Cermia's gear, but I will definitely always look for improvements on her. Because she's proven to me that she's worth investing in.
Let's advance together.
But as you can see, kind of a hypocrite too, because I didn't invest in her S2. So it's like, no, Jagan, you don't really want to invest in her. I will actually once I get
I will guide you through
I think next week's Malagoras, I will be able to invest in an S2, and I think I will.
Back off now if you don't
using her for Golem now too, so it's kind of needed for Golem. Especially if I want to auto it. Okay, so here we go. Wyvern. Could have just used mine, says Ruby. Wait, what do you mean for golem?
Together.
But you can't.
You pitiful being.
You can't use your friends'
Death
heroes
is
though.
your repentance.
On golem.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Prepare yourself.
Oh, your account. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, to feature her. Yeah, that'd be good. That would have been good. Okay, so I'm gonna should I soul burn it? No. Let's soul burn it. So actually, you know what? For the best case scenario, I'm gonna do for both. I'm gonna waste it a bit. So I'm gonna soul burn Luna's S3, and I'm gonna soul burn her own S3 with the greater attack buff, so you guys get to see. Okay.
Keep watching, everyone.
So here we go. And I know it's a bit of a waste there,
Now, if you don't want to get
but
involved.
want to show you guys the damage difference.
In a real fight.
So 18,000.
I believe
Right there.
this is what the goddess wills. Please save us.
And then now Luna.
Do you
Let's go
believe
soul
in
burn.
me? Burning hatred. A desire for revenge.
So 23,000. Okay, it proves that either Wyvern's defense is not super high, or it's just like right on
Let's
borderline
advance
threshold.
together.
But of course, remember, keep in mind there is that 10% elemental advantage, regardless with Luna, because her S3 has an elemental advantage. But still, it's really good. And keep it. Also,
Shall we get
one more
going?
thing to keep in mind is that I'm missing about 20% critical hit damage on Cermia versus Luna. So if I could have gotten their stats like 1-for-1, you guys would see an even better comparison. But of course, there's many variables. Defense of the enemy,
Ridiculous.
the skill enhance that I got them to.
Shall we
All part of the variables. But you guys can see that at least she is top tier
I will
nuker.
guide you through the light.
So, you know, when I did mention like, you know, she's stronger than Luna as a question mark, I think like burst down damage, I think she has stronger potential than Luna.
I believe
That's
this is
including
what
if
the
Luna
goddess
can benefit
wills.
from her own defense
My
break.
goddess.
But you would have to be able to proc the S3, the lucky S1 on Luna
I'll
though.
bet my entire
Otherwise,
fortune
I would
on
say
this.
Cermia is a very close contender
let's
for
go.
sure.
Let's see how long you can endure.
Oh, thank you. Leafa actually made a good point. He says ice characters has 30% extra damage to Wyvern on Wyvern 11. Okay, then then you can see Cermia is actually really strong. But of course, that's a greater attack buff.
My goddess.
So you know, there's no one's perfect. No hero is perfect,
guide you
but you
through
can
the
see the
light.
difference there. Yeah, then 30% totally
I'm on
makes
my
sense.
way.
Then I think in that case,
Now
Cermia still
isn't the
did more
time to
damage.
hesitate.
It's just that it didn't get the 30%.
What fool dares to
30%
challenge
attack more damage on Cermia there, which makes a huge
Ridiculous.
difference.
I will shatter you.
Maru Ben says it has around 1,260 defense. Hey, thank you for that. So that's for Wyvern, right? Thanks for that. That's good. It's good to know. Okay, let's see if I can get another cooldown skill here.
I'll bet my
I
entire fortune on
can,
victory.
but it doesn't really matter now because you guys seen the damage.
You owe me one now.
Again, self
Back off
buff.
now if you don't want to get
And the
involved.
double turn is what really makes that S2 really good. I mean, even if Wyvern, let's say he did pump his own CR, you can slip in there before he even gets a turn, because like even if he's going to go next, at least you get a second
Let's
turn.
advance together.
So again, no perfect hero, but to compare these two, I think it's something to talk about. I would say still right now though, in PvP and GVG, Luna is still my go-to nuker.
Believe in
But
me.
like I only said, like unless it's to counter some like anti-element, then I would use Cermia over Luna. But even in PvP, sometimes I actually use both of them together. That's just something I do, just in case I need two nukers. So like if a defense team on the PvP defense team has like two healers, two tanks, like they're not gonna do too much damage. And my Cermia has a Sacred Scythe to sustain herself, lifesteal set on Luna to sustain herself. I generally do use two nukers. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Cermia. You know, even when she was on the banner, I think I did mention if you guys didn't have Luna to pull for her, but of course her banner is over unfortunately. But if you do pull her off banner, at least hopefully I'm hoping this video will be helpful in you know, giving you guys some ideas on, you know, how to build up your Cermia and the user to a full extent. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on this. So I'm gonna end this video here. So if you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.